Tonight we're going to be talking about the deepest needs of guys and the deepest needs of girls. And hopefully it's going to be a little bit fun and a little bit funny because I'm going to be very revealing of me and Jackie. And it's all going to begin with a really goofy story. This is a picture from some other thing. Tonight is called Pack for the Trail. And you see those big, huge backpacks that we have full of food and cooking gear and sleeping bags and all kinds of stuff. Well, Jackie and I took a group of 4 leaders and 10 kids. That's right. Most of them have never been in the woods by themselves or at all before. And our job is to lead them through the mountains to our campsite. Now, I need to explain this on a map, so if you can just pay attention a little bit. We have a river, which will be represented by blue. Our campsite is located here. Now, there are 2 trails to get to our campsite, and the plan was I would drop off the group, I would drive the bus around to the other side of the trailhead so that when we hike out, we don't hike the same trail twice. One trail comes in and comes down this way, west all the way around, and crosses the river to our campsite. Now, the other trail, which I learned because I went hiking several weeks before we went on a camping trip, there was these beautiful waterfalls over here. This represents the waterfall. And I thought to myself, how stinky would it be if the youth went hiking, did all this beautiful hiking, and they missed a waterfall that was right there? So I planned that we would take this other trail that did this number. And then we would hike across here to our campsite. This is what happened. Jackie had been on this trip 3-4 times before I had. And I went and scouted it by myself. And every time that she went, she took this big trail that wrapped around. And I had this great plan of taking the kids to see the waterfalls, but I couldn't be there because Jackie had to lead in and I had to drive the bus around to the other side. Now, Jackie gets to this first zigzag and goes, I better go with memory because I do want to arrive where we're going. And so she took this roundabout trail and parked right there. Now, I'm hiking the opposite direction because I have to come from the bus down this road. And they're probably somewhere in the ish of here, like very, very close. I get to here and say to myself, you know what? I must have beat them here. I'm going to cross over here and wait for them at this corner of the river. This is Dom. Waiting by the river for them to come marching down this trail. So I sat there for a couple hours. They didn't arrive. They had already got to camp, set up, built fires. We're getting dinner going. I'm still right here. It's getting dark. They're right here next to me. I had no idea, but I'm sitting right here. So it starts getting dark, and I start going, oh, God, I just lost 12 people in the Ozark Mountains because I had a youth with me. You know, like, great, my first camping trip ever, and I lose everybody. So all I can think to do is, well, I've got to go find them. They must have got off somewhere. So I hiked in the dark with a flashlight up this trail all the way back almost to where I dropped them off and never found them. So I hiked back down the trail. So now I've got to be 10 miles in my hiking now. And the poor youth that was with me, he was like, you know, taking breaks every 5 minutes, laying on the ground. And like every time he'd sit down, I'd be like, dude, Bubba's going to get us if you don't get... I hear banjo music. And he'd be like, oh, and we keep hiking, you know. So eventually I'm way up here and I look down the mountain and I see a campfire down there. I go, oh, I wonder if they made it. So I hike all the way back down, 10, 11 miles of hiking now today, up mountains, down mountains. And I arrive, I come into camp, and the youth were so excited that Dom had not died in the woods because they didn't know where I was. I didn't know where they were. That one youth jumps out of a sleeping bag falls over the fire and catches fire. And he spent the rest of the next 2 nights in 20-degree weather with a huge hole like this big in a sleeping bag. It was wonderful. So we eat dinner, or what there was of it, and Jackie and I retired to our tent where I was fuming, you know, and at this point, she came off this emotional high of Dom is dead, you know, so her emotions are all over the place. And I don't remember exactly how the conversation went, but we had a very quiet, very angry argument in that tent while the youth slept peacefully with their burnt sleeping bag. I mean, we were just fuming. I mean, it took us half the night to resolve because we were just angry. We were. Turn your Bibles to Ephesians chapter 5, verse 33. Who wants to read and read loud? Elena, go for it.
So again I say, each man must love
All right, so what does it say? Guys, love your wives. Wives, respect your husbands. Fantastic. We're talking about our Little Black Book series, talking about dating, love, marriage, sex, all kinds of fun things. And tonight we're talking about packing for the trail. What are some of those things that we need to have in our gear bags for marriage so that when we get married, when we find that spouse, that person that we love, that we have the tools that we need to have a successful relationship and to get along with each other the best we can. And you know what we're going to talk about tonight actually works with anybody of the opposite sex, which is very cool. You see, God is smarter than all of us, like really much, much, much smarter. And he already knows how he designed us because he built us. Guys are like waffles. Girls are like spaghetti. All right. See, I don't understand why he did all this. I don't understand how he did all this, but I know that God is so creative that he designed us differently so that we would complement each other. Our differences would actually be things that grow us together. And one of those differences is that a guy's deepest need is respect. Do we need love too? Absolutely. A girl's deepest need is love. Do they need respect too? Absolutely. But God knows us well enough to know that if we will give to the other what they need, their natural reaction will be give back. Here, bear with me for a second. Girls are like spaghetti, right? Everything in their mind is attached to everything else, that's connected to everything else that connects to everything else. I can't understand it, but I guess the girls in here can, right? Can y'all understand that? Because you're like, I live in that kind of brain, so I understand it. So imagine this. If a woman feels loved, say, I feel loved, and that becomes part of the spaghetti. That means that touches and connects with every other aspect of her life. It connects with the aspect of her relationship with her significant other, with her brothers and sisters, with her work, with the hobbies that she has, with the activities that she takes on. And all of a sudden, I'm loved becomes this thing that connects and weaves. And whenever she's thinking about some of these other things, and she's thinking about going shopping, or she's thinking about writing a birthday card, it resonates with somewhere down the spaghetti that she's loved. And you have a woman who is now affirmed in the things that she thinks about. She feels valuable as she's connecting all the spaghetti together, because somewhere in the midst of that, she knows she's loved. She feels encouraged. She feels confident because that's in the midst. It's all tangled and it's touching everything. God knows that need in there. You see, a guy, we're different. We're very, very different. We're waffle heads. We like to see a task. We like to jump in the box of taking on the task. We consider the problem. We come up with a solution. We solve the problem. We close the box and step into the next box. We only have one box at a time. And so, as a guy who works in boxes, I like to feel, and the guys in here with me, we like to feel like we've accomplished this box, like we've succeeded in this box. This box is well taken care of. Dust my hands of you. Boom. I just did that. Exactly. We guys like to be in boxes, take on tasks that we know we can succeed in. Think about video games. We like video games because there's a beginning, there's an end, we can achieve, and we can get there. Now, you will never see a guy so angry and so frustrated as when he's having a problem in a video game. It angers him to no end. Why? Because he's in this box to succeed. He's in this box to get somewhere and get something done, and he can't solve the problem. And it touches every nerve of our body. You see, if a guy feels respected, it makes him feel accomplished and successful. And if he feels respected in each box that he jumps in, he feels like that box he's successful there because he's respected. It makes his boxes more like easy boxes than like impossible boxes. Because now he feels respected. Okay, when I go to work, because I feel respected at work, even if I come up against problems, I still feel accomplished, that I can take this on. In my relationship with a wife or a girlfriend or a fiance, if I feel respected in this, I feel like I'm successful in this relationship, which makes me want to stay in this box and keep trying and keep going. Where if we feel unsuccessful, well, we kind of avoid things that make us feel unsuccessful. And so you have these two very different qualities of guys and girls. Guys, we need to feel respected so we can feel accomplished and take on the world. And girls, they need to feel loved so that all those different connections in their minds can say, you're valuable. And God knew that. So when that need is being met, and we feel energized about life. Girls, they feel energized. Guys, we feel energized about life. We feel like we can take it on and be excited about it because we're loved or we're respected. You see, the beauty is that whenever we're interacting with the opposite sex, if we can give them and help them with those needs, if I can make Jackie feel loved, her natural knee-jerk reaction is to respect me for that. If she respects me, oh my gosh, I just love to show her love. Think about your parents. If you show your mom that you love her by helping her with things that she's asked for, if you show your teachers, you know what, I really don't want to do this, but I'm gonna extend some sort of love to meet you where you're trying to meet me at. All of a sudden, their knee-jerk reaction is to respond in that way. Are you following me? You kind of with me on this? So it's beautiful. God designed this so it would become this, it would be this energizing cycle. His love motivates her. She respects him. So he loves her, and it becomes this beautiful cycle, this beautiful relationship, encouraging one another and pushing each other forward and meeting each other's needs. But you see, the flip side of this is if I do something that's unloving towards Jackie, her absolute knee-jerk reaction is to withhold respect from me, to do something that would grind against me. See, guys, we get this. We understand guy respect. If two guys don't like each other, we'll get in a fight, we'll be best friends. It's just the way it works. If you see a guy walking down the sidewalk and you do that, kind of nod, and the guy does it back, we're on mutual ground. We're cool with each other. If you do that and he's just like, we feel like, what just happened? What, you got a problem with me? It's so true. If Jackie shows me respect, my knee-jerk reaction is to show her love. And if I show her love, then she'll show me respect. Now, if I don't show her the love that she needs, she will withhold that respect. She'll do something that would grind against me. And as soon as I don't feel respected, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to not show love the way she needs. And when I don't show love the way she needs, she's not going to. This is called the crazy cycle. Without love, she reacts. Without respect, I react. And it goes around and around. And this is where you see relationships grind at each other and get worse and get worse and get worse. Because as the guy's not feeling respected, he is not showing love. He will do things that are unloving. And as she's not feeling love, she will not show respect. And she's not meeting his needs. And it gets worse and it gets worse and it gets worse. And destroys. For example, so we have a guy and a girl. They're going to go out on maybe their second date. And he said for his date, you know what? I've got a really dirty car. No, like really, really dirty. You got it up here? Yes, a very dirty car. It looks a lot like Dom's. It's trashed. It's got McDonald's from like 6 months ago on the dashboard. It's just dirty. And he says to himself, you know what? I bet you she would love to climb into a clean Chariot. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the task box. I'm going to jump into the box of saying, I'm going to make this car clean. I may even go to drastic measures to get this car clean. However it's going to end, it's going to be spotless. Now think for her. She's getting ready for this date. Now she goes into spaghetti mode. I'm going to put on this dress because of this reason, because of that thought that I had, because I have this person that I met this one time who said this, and I saw this commercial about this, and pink is the new peach, is the new black, is the new green, and so she's spaghettiing, and she's getting ready herself. She's getting all ready for this date. Now, he, like a good guy, he walks up to the door, he walks her out to the car, he opens the car door for her, she climbs in. It is a clean car. I mean, he has vacuumed, there's not a speck. He washed the windows, he greased the dashboard so slick that if you set something on it, it'd slide out the window when he turned. I mean, it is greased down. His place is clean. So they both climb in, he goes around, and they start driving. Now, remember, she's been spaghettiing for the last 2 hours, trying to prepare for this date. She's been thinking of all this thing, and she has been miles and miles and miles of running in her mind. And she's sitting in the car. Now, two guys, if they get in the car, say me and Cameron in the car, it will probably be the last thing on my mind to go, hey, yo, Cameron, your shoes are tight. And he'd be like, thanks. I mean, that might happen, but it's slim. If I don't, he's never going to say he doesn't like me. He didn't compliment on my shoes. You know what I mean? If I don't say, hey, yo, Cameron, your hair looks good today, if I did, he'd probably be like, you're weird. Can you drop me off? And so guys, this is how we are in our heads. This is not an expected thing. And so all of a sudden this girl climbs into the car, and she has been spaghettiing for how long? Forever. And we're driving, and she's over there thinking, admire me, admire me. You don't know what I went through, admire me. So she says something nonchalant like, so what do you think? How do I look? And he's like, nice. Why are you guys laughing? Because you knew that was the wrong answer. You already knew. All of a sudden, she put all this work. You don't even understand how much work she put into trying to look perfect. And she is not quite getting the love she's wanting to get from this. You know what I mean? And so her reaction is, why does my purse keep slipping off the dashboard? You see, and all of a sudden the guy feels like his work is disrespected because he did this, and she's feeling like she's not getting the love. And they could go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Think of another story. Say several months from now, they have been dating for 3 months. It is their quarter-year anniversary. Big time. I mean, if you're 15, that's like a chunk of your life. You know what I mean? Quarter-year anniversary. Now, same scenario. They climb into the car. Now, she's thinking to herself, if he really likes me, he's going to recognize that it's our quarter-year anniversary and have done something special. Yeah. He doesn't know. Just climb. I mean, he's the guy. I mean, so he climbs in, they're driving. Did you remember that it's our quarter-year anniversary? So now he feels like his character is getting judged by his not recognizing a calendar date. He feels like his integrity and his how much he cares about her is being put on a pedestal and being based on how much he cares about her. And so he feels very challenged, disrespected. And so his response is like, what's 3 months? I dated the last girl for 9. Ooh. That goes downhill very, very, very fast. The crazy cycle takes over. We must learn to defeat the crazy cycle, because it's a cycle that once you're in, it goes around and around and around. And somebody, if they're going to get out of this before it does damage, is going to have to step up to the plate and say, despite my feeling disrespected, I'm going to show love anyway. And after a time of showing love anyway, the natural reaction is for her to start respecting. Someone's got to step up and say, despite my not feeling loved, I'm going to respect you anyway. And over time, his reaction will come around to being love. Somebody's got to break the cycle. And you know what? We only have control over us. We can't force anybody to do anything. The only person that we can change is ourselves. So when you see that crazy cycle coming, the ball's in our court to do something about it. So Jackie and I, here's another story. Jackie and I were, it was a couple of years ago. You remember those stupid sun chip bags that were like, go green? And as you open them, they broke sound barriers and window. They were so loud. The decibels off these bags were crazy. I'm glad they got rid of them. I don't care about the earth that much. Stupid sun chips are too loud. We had one Ziploc bag left. And I said to myself, that Ziploc bag is a heck of a lot quieter than the sun chip bag. Here's my task. The task is get these chips quiet. So I'm taking on my task, right? So I'm in the closet, and I'm getting out the Ziploc bag, and Jackie, out of the corner of her eye, sees me do this, and she goes, don't use my last Ziploc bag. Excuse me? I pay bills too? Feeling very disrespected. And so what ensued was quite another argument. Oh, this is my bag, blah, 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 blah. You see, if we're grinding and we make these mistakes, everybody is. Every relationship, every marriage is going to meet these things. We're naturally, one of us, whether it's called for or uncalled for, are going to disrespect the other or not show love. Let's rewind to the camp story. I got an idea. Think through that just a little bit and think through how I could have handled that better to show her love in this situation, and think through how she could have handled it better to show me respect in this situation. Think about it. I want some creative ideas. Look at both sides and how each of us could have solved this crazy cycle instead of us diving in and ripping each other's heads off in whisper mode. What do you think? Go for it. Cameron.
You could have said, I understand.
Daniel.
I'm so glad you're okay.
Yeah, that would have helped. All right, what could Jackie have done? Yeah, Sierra.
She could have said, "Thank you for going and waiting for them at the bridge."
Yeah, I like it. Thank you for trying. I recognize and respect your attempting to meet us somewhere. I think both of those are good. Mine would be identifying where she came from and not jumping down her throat would probably have been really helpful, you know. And her going, I totally understand what you wanted, and I'm sorry it didn't work out that way. Turn back to Ephesians chapter 5, because there's something that we left out before that I don't want to miss. Dominic Ferrone is going to jump into the deep end of not being politically correct. We're going to start at verse 21. Y'all there? Give me a yay if you're there.
Yeah.
And furthermore, submit one to another out of reverence for Christ. For wives, this means submit to your husbands as to the Lord. For husband, it is the head of the wife as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body, the church. As the church submits to Christ, so wives, you should submit to your husbands. Verse 25. For husbands, this means love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave up his life for her. Skip down to verse 28. In the same way, husbands ought to love their wives as they love their own bodies. For a man who loves his wife actually shows love for himself. Skip down to verse 31. As the scriptures say, a man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife, and the two are united to one. This is a great mystery, but it is an illustration of the way that Christ and the church are one. So again, I say, each man must love his wife as he loves himself, and his wife must respect her husband. You see, one of the things that people don't realize is the word submit is a really scary word in our culture, but the word submit is actually a military term. You know how great generals, they would take their army and they would plow head on into another army, but they would kind of secretly have another chunk of troops and they would flank and come from the side and it would create this bit of confusion taking on the enemy from both sides. You see, the word submit is tied in with the word to flank your enemy. It's two of us working together on different fronts, but we're coming after the same goal. For a lot of women, the word submit is scary because it's like, wait a minute, if I submit to my husband, does that mean that I'm going to get run over? That he can just do whatever he wants to do because I'm going to be submissive? You know, does that mean that I'm just going to become a doormat to his every whim? Well, no, because the next verses are, husbands, love your wives, and just like Christ loved the church, you should give yourselves up for her, just the way Jesus did for the church. You see, Jesus Christ died for the church. He gave his whole life for the church to live and move forward. You see, wives, it's a lot easier. Girls, when you become a wife and you give yourself solely to one man, it's a lot easier to submit if you know that his every intention is to do anything and everything possible for your good and for your benefit. That's the kind of guy you can submit to, because you know that his every intention is to bless you and love you and lift up your family together. All of a sudden, this becomes the man as a servant every bit as much, if not more, because it's his role to make sure she is taken care of, to lay down his life to make sure that this family moves forward and is well taken care of and nurtured. I think, girls, that's the kind of guy you can submit to. I think that's the kind of guy that you can say, you know what, I will allow you to make the final decision here because I believe that the decision that you're making, you're doing it for my best interest and for this family's best interest. There is nothing that inspires me more than when Jackie submits to me and says, you know what, you get the last word here because I believe that you hear from God and I believe that you're the head of this house. And when she does that for me, I want to pour love out for her. I want to find ways that I can bless her and find ways to do things that she enjoys and to bless her. And somehow I imagine that whenever I pour love out onto her, she respects me that much more to believe that she can submit to me. I bet you that works full circle. Because I feel respected and she feels loved. Therefore, she respects me and I love her and she respects me. Girls, I stay as independent as you can. You need to be an independent thinker, but you need to be somebody who is thinking on your own feet. Yeah, you're staying ahead of this guy that you're dating to say, you know what, I'm going to stay wise in this situation because I haven't given myself to this guy yet. But the day you say I do and you say, you know what, I'm going to be your wife and we're going to walk life together, and the Bible says submit one to another. It's not politically correct But God knows our deepest needs. He knows how we work. He knows that if we flank life together, we can chase this goal and be twice as effective. We must break the crazy cycle. So my challenge this week is to look for, girls and guys, look for a guy and a girl, everybody in here, that you can look for a way to show love to, for a girl or a guy if you're choosing, and a guy that you can show respect to. So even the guys in here are going to look for a female figure in their life and a guy figure in their life. They're going to show love to one and respect to the other. Girls do the same thing. Look for a guy and a girl and try this. Experiment with it. See if they respond to you differently. See if over time, if all of a sudden, as you're showing your mom love and you're meeting her and being submissive to her because she's an authority in your life, if she doesn't start treating you differently. Try this. Because we got to break the crazy cycle. It's doing damage. But if we go into that encouragement cycle, it can be wonderful how the people of God interact with each other and how husbands and wives interact with each other. Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity to serve you. Thank you for the opportunity to be politically incorrect. That's just fun every time. Lord, I pray that you will plant seeds in our lives to respect the guys in our lives and to pour out love for the girls in our lives. Lord, I pray that you give every man and woman in this room wisdom on how to move forward in every decision. Lord, I pray you protect them from times when they're not thinking straight. And I pray that when they look to you for wisdom, that you'll pour it out for them. Bless them, Lord. Take away shame and guilt whenever you forgive us. In your holy, wonderful, and precious name, amen.